think it will help him so much more in the long run, just knowing from the get-go this is the way he is, and this is the way he is wired, and he is perfect just the way he is. Your brain is wired a little differently than a lot of people's brains. So you have some super abilities. You are able to do some things that a lot of people aren't able to do.
Yeah.
But you also struggle with some things that a lot of people don't struggle with. So you have both of these things going on. And you know what? There's a name for it.
What?
It's called autism.
Autism.
Autism. Long time no see. I know it's been an incredibly long time since I have put up a video on my channel, and I apologize for that. We have had a lot of new things going on in our lives, new business venture, which I'm not going to put too much details out there on the internet, but that has been going on, which has been taking up all of our time. But I thought this would be a really good video to start up with again. Unfortunately, my comments are still disabled, which I am just annoyed beyond belief about. It has been, what, 3-4 months now, and YouTube has not done anything to fix the problem. I'll link my video here about why comments were taken away on a lot of family channels actually, and why that's not actually a very good solution, and it's really just harming creators. But anyway, if you're wondering, that's why there are no comments, and I was really wanting to make this video once I had comments back, but I don't. So we're just gonna go ahead with it. I will link this video in the community page. If you go to my Eat, Pray, Crunch page, you go over to the community tab and you will see where I linked this video, and that is where you can leave comments. You can also go over to my Facebook page and I will link this video there as well if you would like to discuss over there. Anyway, that is my long introduction of the day, but today what I'm going to do is I am going to tell Alex that he is on the autism spectrum, and that is not something that we have overtly discussed yet, but I was just kind of waiting for the right time and kind of feeling it out, and it has become clear that now is the time. There's a lot of debate out there about how it should be presented to kids, how much should they know about it. You know, some people really don't want kids to even know about it just because they feel like it would be their entire identity and like a reason not to try, you know, things like that, and like limit them. I don't see it that way, and I think a lot of people don't see it that way as well. Telling the truth is the best policy, and just being open and honest about things and communicating about things. Alex having that knowledge about himself will, I think, make his life so much easier, and understanding why he has the abilities he has and why he has the struggles that he has, just framing it in that way, you know, explaining this is the way your brain is wired. I think it will help him so much more in the long run, just knowing from the get-go this is the way he is, and this is the way he is wired, and he is perfect just the way he is. So that is kind of how I am planning on addressing that today. You know, he's twice exceptional, so he is on the autism spectrum, but he is also very gifted. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know, he started reading before he could walk. He was able to count at like 16 months. You know, he's 6.5 now, and he's reading at a 3rd grade level, and he's doing extraordinary math. He understands like extraordinary math concepts that I didn't even know about until recently because he explained them to me. You know, he's our little solar system expert. That is his special interest. But he also has a lot of sensory difficulties and difficulty with change and disruption in routine and that kind of thing. And executive functioning difficulties. Those things are all very big struggles for him. I've talked a lot about this in various videos in the past, but one of the biggest things that he struggles with is food, and that is something that he is working on in his occupational therapy that he goes to once a week, just doing some feeding therapy, and it is a glacial process. But we are making forward progress, and he is now eating baby carrots, which is huge because his entire life he never ate anything fresh. The only way we could get fresh things into him was through green smoothie. Thank God for green smoothies. So, you know, that's one of the biggest things he struggles with in emotional regulation. He has extreme emotional outbursts when he's frustrated, and he doesn't know how to handle these really big feelings he's having. Sophie, who is our 4.5-year-old, she's very bright. She might even be gifted in certain ways herself in terms of how she is incredibly perceptive about things and makes connections about things, and she is also extraordinarily creative and may end up being artistically gifted as well. She does not appear at this point to be on the spectrum herself. She's a very bright kid, and she has noticed these things about Alex. One of the things that Alex does, even though he's incredibly verbal, he repeats himself over and over. This is a very autistic thing. He says things over and over, and sometimes he will say something and then he will repeat it in a whisper under his breath. And Sophie started asking, why does Alex say things over and over again? And my quick answer at the time was just, oh, well, that's just the way Alex's brain works. And so I was like, that's one of the reasons I was thinking maybe we should talk about this and we're going to include Sophie in this conversation too, so she understands. And the final straw was today. He was having a complete meltdown because Sophie did not want to do what he was wanting to do. And sometimes he ends up having these emotional outbursts that he doesn't feel like he can control his reactions to, which we are telling him that he does have control over that. And we are learning tools on how to do that. But for example, he was yelling and screaming in Sophie's face and pulled her hair and really hurt her. And we're like, that's it, that's not okay. And he was really frustrated about it. And oftentimes when he has these outbursts, that's just like he has this reaction. He's not thinking, he just does these things that are sometimes even hurtful physically or emotionally to other people, specifically his siblings and sometimes to us. And then afterwards, once he calms down, he feels bad. And he was actually saying, I don't like being Alex, I want to be somebody else. And I was like, oh no, we're not going to go there. We are going to talk about how important you are, how perfect God made you just the way you are. And I was saying, okay, today is the day we're going to talk about how your brain works, because you need to start understanding. Because he just gets so frustrated and he doesn't like that he has these reactions. And I think that being able to talk about it and frame it in this context of this is what is going on with your brain, I think will really help him. So that is the conversation we're going to have. I'll probably edit it here and there, just for his privacy. I probably won't put everything in, but I feel like this is also a good thing to put out there, just because it's something that I've been trying to figure out myself. Like, how do you talk to your own child about the fact that they might be differently wired than other kids? Like, how do you even go about doing that? So this is new territory for me. I'm just kind of feeling it out, and I don't think that there's only one right answer for this. I would hesitate to put in this title, like, how to explain to your kid that they have autism. I don't want to say how to, because this is just our how to. This is how we're doing it. And I'm sure that there are other good ways for other people to do it. But I just think that maybe putting it out there the way that we're going about it, maybe that could be helpful for somebody else as well. So anyway, I'm going to show you here. I got a couple of books. We're going to talk about it first, but then we're going to read these books together. I got this one and I've read through both of them now, and this one is okay. And I do like that it's uniquely wired. It's kind of how I want to frame it, is just saying that he is uniquely and differently wired. They kind of present it that this little boy has all of these aspects of autism, that some of them apply to Alex and some of them don't. And so I felt like it was kind of okay, but I really wanted it to explain more that some kids have these certain traits and others don't, whereas this one just kind of presents it that these are the traits that you have. So it was okay. I really like this one. And I think this is the one book that I am going to read to them, because it is wonderfully put together. And I really like how it's presented, and that it talks about the different ways that autism can present in different kids and how that applies to your kid. One of the most awesome parts of this is that you can fill in your own. These are Alex's superpowers, and you know, these are the energy drainers and his energy builders, and so it's like adding your kid's own traits into the book, which I think is so awesome. And I also just love that it's presented as superpowers, framing it in a very positive light, because overall I think it is. You know, autism is a interesting combination of disabilities and super abilities. I mean, that's really what Twice Exceptionality is about. I really like that it frames it in such a positive light. I feel like how I present this the very first time that I present it is kind of important, because this is how he is going to be introduced to it. This is how he is going to view himself for the rest of his life. I mean, obviously we can, you know, tweak things and talk about things as we go, but I just really want to be careful how I am introducing this concept to him, and I really want it to be in a positive light and say, this is how you're made, and you are made in the most amazing way, and you have these super abilities along with some of these struggles you have. So anyway, so that's what I'm going to do, and I will take you guys along with this journey. Here we are. What are we going to talk about today?
Our brain is gonna work.
Yeah, we're going to learn how Alex's brain works, huh? So, hey, Alex, you know how we were talking earlier about how we were going to learn how your brain works? So, you know how you were feeling a little frustrated earlier, Alex? You were having a hard time with your big feelings and not being sure how to handle them?
Alex's little sister, me.
Yeah, you're Alex's little sister.
Yeah.
And you were asking Sophie the other day, why does Alex say things over and over, right?
Yeah.
You were asking that because sometimes you like to say something and then you whisper it under your breath again and again. Have you noticed how you do that? And you know how you have a lot of knowledge about the solar system, and you're a solar system expert. And
I say things over and over when I do talk about solar system.
yeah. And you know how sometimes you like to jump and flap your hands? It kind of feels good in your body when you do that, or when you do that when you're feeling excited. You know how you do that? You know how you have very sensitive ears, you have very sensitive taste? Your brain is wired a little differently than a lot of people's brains. Did you know that? So you have some super abilities. You are able to do some things that a lot of people aren't able to do.
Yeah.
But you also struggle with some things that a lot of people don't struggle with. So you have both of these things going on, and you know what? There's a name for it. It's called autism.
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 So Alex, that explains why your brain works that way. Because you have this thing called autism spectrum. And there are a lot of kids out there who also have autism. And it might be kind of the same as how you have it, and it might be a little different than how you have it too. And that's why I wanted to read this book with you about it, so that you can understand.
Sometimes I just say things one at a time.
Yeah, and you know how you really can focus really hard on things that you're interested in, like the solar system? You can just focus for a really long time on the things that you love, right? That's also because your brain is wired, because you have autism. And so understanding that about yourself can help you. You know how we go to therapy, and you go to see Miss Bree, and you go to social groups? It's because you're working on the things that are more difficult for you, the more difficult parts of having autism. And that's why you go to therapy, because it helps you, give you some tools and some skills to help with the things that are hard for you. Does that make sense?
No.
No? Should we read the book about it?
Yes.
Let's read the book about it.